photographs you're about to see were obtained exclusively by Time Warner Cable, and these are the first pictures to be seen that were actually taken on board the crashed ferry just minutes after the disaster occurred. The pictures were taken by Gabrielle Iskowitz, who was on the unaffected upper decks of the Barberi when it crashed into the pier in St. George. Gabrielle, who is a Manhattan resident, was on her way to see relatives on Staten Island, made it safely off the boat with her husband and young daughter. When we approached her shortly after the disaster for an on-camera interview, she declined, but did promise to mail me the photographs she had taken on board the doomed boat. And here are the pictures you will only see on the Staten Island News Center. A wrecked pier, panicked passengers, rescue boats racing to the aid of the crashed Barberi. All still shots captured by Gabrielle Iskowitz as she walked around the doomed ferry, taking picture after picture of a routine ferry trip that quickly turned into one of the worst disasters in the Staten Island Ferry's history. With no crew members in sight and no word on the PA system as to what had happened, most passengers, including Gabrielle, were unaware of the extent of the disaster. It wasn't until Gabrielle leaned out of a window to take this dramatic picture, only then did she realize the horrors that took place just one deck below. About 20 minutes after the crash, Gabrielle snapped this shot of the tugboat that would eventually bring them to a slip at the St. George Ferry Terminal. Shortly after docking at that slip, Gabrielle got this shot of the fire department ordering everyone off of the Barberi. While exiting the boat, Gabrielle would shoot this one last shot of the damaged ferry, which injured so many and took the lives of 10 people who, just like Gabrielle and her family, were just taking a routine ferry trip to Staten Island. Now, I spoke to Gabrielle this morning by phone, and she said she and her family were still a little bit shaken up by the incident, but that last week's disaster would not stop them from riding the ferry again. Incidentally, Gabrielle and her family live in Washington Heights in Manhattan, where they were also slightly affected by last Thursday's water main break. They suffered no loss in that disaster, and Gabrielle said she is just looking forward to some quiet time with her family. Alicia, back to you in the studio.